It is Friday, and I am tired of thinking. I have expended way too much glucose being all thoughtful and substantive this week, so I am done with that. If you're new to the program, we do a flagship episode on Wednesdays and Thursdays where I talk to a thought leader or an astronaut or an author, and then on Fridays, I talk to some degenerate friend about the week's more interesting and, in my opinion, least served headlines, and we are going to do that now. So if Wednesday's the healthy, well-balanced meal, right now we're doing a beer bong. You're on the beer bong portion of the program, and joining me to guzzle that sweet, low-grade quality frat beer is Andrew Young. Welcome to the program, Andrew.
Whoa, give me some Natty Light.
Yep. How shall I introduce you? Comedian?
Well, every time you've ever had me on any program, you always have some confusion about what do you do? What is your job?
Yeah, you work at the circus, don't you? Isn't that what you do?
Yes, I am a circus jokester, and that is how I want to be introduced.
Okay, circus jokester Andrew Young joining on the program. And I'll add, I think this is the first time you've been on the Political Orphanage. However, you have been on my other program, Alienating the Audience, several times. So for listeners that enjoy this program, if you happen to enjoy Battlestar Galactica, Young and I spent a solid hour and a half going through every single philosophical thing we could think of involving Battlestar Galactica. And then subsequently, like a week later, called each other to talk about the stuff we'd forgotten to talk about. It's very thorough of the philosophy of Battlestar Galactica. That's on my other program, Alienating the Audience. So, and you're on there pretty regularly now.
Yeah, as I should be.
Yeah, as you should be. And now you're here to sort out the week's better headlines with me. So let's kick it to upstate New York. Mysterious giant safe appears in farmer's field in upstate New York. This is from Barre, New York. Residents of a small town.
I think it's Bar.
Is it
I think
Bar?
It's Bar.
B-A-R-R-E?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they're named after a ballet thing, then I think it's Bar.
Then it's, which I assume all towns in upstate New York are named after.
Yep.
Residents of a small town in upstate New York have two questions on their minds. How did a giant safe end up in the middle of a farmer's field, and what could be inside of it? Here's the skinny on this. A guy named Kirk Mathis from Barre, New York, reported that he just showed up, he went to his farm, and there was just a big locked safe in the middle of a field, in the middle of his farm. And there was a note on it that said, whoever opens it can keep whatever's inside, right? And could be holding $10 million, could be confetti. We have no idea. And they tried real hard to open up the safe. They hired a code cracker, couldn't open it. Got like a crowbar and a jackhammer, couldn't break it. So he's just going to keep it. It's just going to be like a conversation piece, the safe that showed up in his field. So here, Young, this is what I'm thinking. I think this is either A, magic trick that went horribly wrong, and there's a suffocated magician corpse sitting inside of that safe right now. Or B, this is, I think, more likely. I think this Mathis guy murdered someone, put it in a safe, and went, the only way I'm going to get away with this is if I turn this into a tourist attraction and just put it front and center and then pretend I have no idea what's happening. So I don't know how libel laws work, but I feel like how about this? Somebody murdered a guy and put him in this safe. Maybe the mob did it. Maybe Mathis did it. I don't know, but there's definitely a corpse in that safe. It's either an unlucky dude that got killed by somebody or it's a dead magician, but I definitely think it's a body.
First of all, Heaton, before we discuss any of this, I should point out that you run two well-listened to podcasts. You should know how libel laws work.
Actually, you're right. I really should look into libel laws. I'm trying to think of what I've gotten. I don't want to say what it is, but I got kind of in trouble one time where I was a guest on another show, and somebody came over afterwards and was like, "Don't joke about that. never joke about that particular topic again on the air." And I was like, "Oops, okay, right. I won't ever joke about." Yes, yeah, that thing.
That thing.
Yeah.
But no, I think there are two possibilities because I saw a picture of this safe. Mm-hmm. A, it could be a body, and I think that's a genius way to kill someone. And
agreed.
I'm a little sad that you said it on air because now we can't use it.
Right. Damn it.
Or I noticed that the safe said Buffalo, New York, so it could just be full of chicken wings.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. Buffalo wings. It could be. It could be. The other thing too is like I wonder. I am becoming increasingly cynical about advertising, but also more appreciative of advertising. So like I could totally see this Mathis guy just going like, man, nobody's coming to buy our corn husks. We make these cool corn husk, sculptures that my wife Martha makes, and she's not selling any of them. And then he's like, I know what I'll do. I'll just put a big ass inexplicable safe. This is not a good upstate New York accent. Inexplicable safe in the middle.
It's a decent farmer accent.
Yeah. People don't know that farmers are an ethnic group, and that I am nailing that. I'll just put the safe in the middle of the field. People show up to look at the safe, and I'm like, honestly, it worked. He's on I'm talking about him on my program. He clearly got at some other stuff.
Well, let's explore the he murdered someone angle.
Right,
because
good, thank you.
Honestly, because here's the thing. Okay. According to the article, he was not present when the safe showed up in his field. Perfect alibi.
Right.
Great. Very smart. So some random person could have put a safe in his field and there's a body in it. Oh no, they opened the safe.
Right.
There's a body in it. I wasn't here.
Right.
Very smart.
Agreed.
Second, I didn't see the thing about the code cracker, but I did see the thing where it said they took a sledgehammer to it and knocked off the dial and the handle.
Oh, perfectly.
Very smart.
Yeah. No,
Because
then you can't get a code cracker.
You can't get I've seen a number of movies. I've seen The Italian Job, and I can tell you that you do not start by knocking off the dial and the handle. You start with like a stethoscope, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So...
Okay, so we're agreed. He probably killed someone. Is that where we're at? Assuming blah, 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 law. This is probably foul play, but brilliant, and that's why I support him. And this is how I'm gonna get out of court of law is, if I am indeed committing libel, I want to claim I am not trying to bemoan this person. I actually think he's a genius, and he should become governor of New York. I am very much emphatically in support of this man, even if he committed first-degree murder.
I also thought it was very funny that the article said something like locals and authorities have tried and failed to crack the safe before he got back to the farm.
Yeah, that's fishy.
So someone saw a safe in a guy's field and thought, I'm going to take myself a sledgehammer to that.
Yeah, I know.
And then the cop showed up, saw him doing so, and thought, we can do better. Hold my beer.
I really like that. I like that some cops drove by a safe in a field and were like, oh, look, it's a safe. Well, there goes our Arbor Day. Looks like we're going to be dedicating the rest of this to figuring out. We don't need to know why the safe's in the field. We don't need to talk to the farmer that owns the field. Let's just assume the safe needs to be cracked. Yeah, I agree. There's some weird variables in this equation that don't quite stack up.
Also of note, if you look at that safe, I looked up the safe company that made it. It says that safe company closed in the 1920s.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a body in that safe. 100% there's a body in that safe. It may not be a guy that got murdered. It's at least like or let me rephrase it. It may not be somebody the farmer killed, but somebody killed a dude, stuffed him in that safe. Maybe it's the police commissioner of Bar, New York that was like, like I accidentally backed this guy over with my police tractor. What am I going to do with his body? I'm going to put it in the safe. The company's been defunct since 1920. Can't call them. There's no warranty on a safe from 1920. Yeah. Good call.
Yeah.
Good call. And again, that guy should totally run for Attorney General of New York. If the police commissioner whacked a guy, it's genius. I'm willing to accept a little bit of murder for competency. I'm a big fan of competency.
They get my non-resident vote.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and like probably they'd take it if they killed a guy. So yeah. Now this, I'm going to jump over to England. Axeman on horseback arrested after riding through town. So I'm just going to read a couple lines from this. A horse rider has been arrested after allegedly riding through a market town with an axe at night. Suffolk police have arrested a 28-year-old man after an incident in Beccles at around 8 p.m. on Tuesday night. And a member of the public reported the man after seeing a suspected axe in the saddle as he drove along St. Andrews Road. This is why I'm 100% on the side of the Axeman.
I knew you would be. Keep going.
Yeah, I'm emphatically okay. So like, I get that England, like Britain doesn't have a concept of right to defense, right? That's an American concept. We in America, we're like, you as a human being, you get, and like, we can talk about whether you can own a machine gun or not, but that's like, it's you get to have it until we decide you can't have it. But the presumption of ownership's on you to own deadly weapons, right? And I'm broadly in favor of that. I'm broadly of that mindset. England doesn't have that, right? So like, I get why a guy with an axe would be problematic in England. If you saw a dude with an axe at 2 o'clock in the morning walking through the streets, you're like, that guy's probably going to kill somebody. The reason I'm in favor of this guy is he was also on horseback. And that tells me that there was a purpose to all of this. I don't know what it was, but I'm confident that that man got on a horse with an axe for a reason, and it's probably a really good reason. So I'm just like, I think he should be let go unless they can prove he killed somebody and stuffed their body in a safe. Unless you can prove that, I think he probably had a good point, and I'm in favor of him.
I mean, I know nothing about Suffolk. I would assume that it is not a horse town.
Yeah, it's more of an English donkey shire.
Yeah, but I tend to agree with you. If a man is riding through the streets with a horse and a saddle axe, he wasn't even welding the axe. It was just alongside for the journey.
Yeah,
then he has to be a man with purpose. And I don't think. What is the limit to which the English police can arrest you? If you just have an axe on your saddle, that's not threatening. I
agree. I think that they're a lot more. The British have much more of a deference to authority than we have.
Well, but they're a country that was state first, then people, whereas America was people first, then state.
Yeah, and when you talk to a lot of British people, you can tell that they're like, well, it would be great to have that right. Let's go talk to the king and see if he'll give it to us. Like it is a mindset of like, rights are given from the king, and that is like baked into them. And so like one of the things that like weirded me out was when I was in the UK. If you get somebody's mail by mistake, it is like you just open it and see if it's important or not. And then send it to him. And I'm like, that's literally a felony in my country. Like if you get a bill from somebody and you open it, like you've committed a felony. Like put that in a safe and drop it off in upstate New York so that you don't get in trouble. But in Britain, they're like, no, it's fine. And if police need to come into your house, they probably have a good reason. They don't need a warrant. It's fine. I'm very much a team axe.
I also wonder if it had been a sword and he had been in full armor, what would their response have been? Would it have been the same, or would it have been like, he's just presenting what we used to come from?
Right. See, this is my theory. I think he's probably just a historical reenactor. I think he's probably a part of the local Suffolk creative anachronism team and got confused about the time. He's like, 2 o'clock. I guess it's 2 a.m. because you didn't say 1400 because we're a train country. And so he showed up dutifully. And it's their fault, in my opinion, for not giving him the right thing. So that's my guess. Or possibly a time traveler, in which case, hasn't he already been through enough?
Yeah. He's already had the shock.
So Young, you've been to our cabin in Wagner a couple times.
Yes.
Okay. So and you know Wagner, Oklahoma, the greater necroplex of Wagner, Oklahoma, that I've spent many a summer in. A couple of years ago, I was in Wagner and I had to go get something at like 2 o'clock at night. I don't remember what it was. It was like a seal for a sink, or I don't know. It was something I needed to get then. So I had to go to the Walmart at 2 a.m. And the only people in the Walmart that were outside of employees were me and a middle-aged man with a whole shopping cart, and the only thing in it was a hatchet. It was just me getting this like water seal and dude with a hatchet at 2 a.m. And like that guy 100% was going to kill his wife. Like, because what tree felling emergency do you ever have at 2 a.m. where you're like, oh man, gotta go get a hatchet. Can't wait till tomorrow. Like that guy was a murderer for sure, but he didn't have a horse. So, like, it's not complex enough.
I'm racking my brain to think of a good reason to get a hatchet at 2 a.m. because I was going to try to come back with some counterpoint, and I don't have
It's either
one.
Kill your wife or kill your neighbor. There's no one's ever bought a hatchet at 2 a.m. because they needed to take out a sapling. That is not a late-night purchase.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, well, so this is a good mystery episode, Young. You know what? In fact, this is like, I hadn't thought about this. Normally, to kind of tip the deck on this for people that are longtime Friday Release Valve listeners, I've figured out that there's almost like different food groups you need to have in a good comedy news show. You need to have like animal news, Florida news, criminal news. By the way, these are all usually in Florida. And then like something international, like something either from our friends in Australia or like Germans like being arrested for farting or something, right? This episode we're really focusing on mystery, which I like. This is probably when you and I really get stratospheric with the podcast, because we can go serial. So next story, this is from Nebraska. The State Patrol solves case of the abandoned tank on I-80 on-ramp. Good job. Great job, Nebraska State Patrol, for getting to the bottom of that mystery. Somebody called the state troopers because there was a tank on the highway, on the on-ramp, that had just been left there for several days. And they finally tracked down that, what was it? The vehicle was part of the South Dakota National Guard 211th Engineer Company, and it had been headed to South Dakota after a training mission. And Thomas said the state park is working with the South Dakota National Guard to return it to them and locate the driver who abandoned it. So evidently, some guy in the National Guard had a goddamn tank that he was driving through Nebraska, and it like ran out of gas, and he was like, "Well, fuck it, I'll just Uber home." And
well, hold on just a second, hold on. So the tank was on the back of a truck, right? That's this truck driver, right?
Yeah, evidently. I think because it was towed, I guess. I don't know. It almost seems like a crime.
Well, I don't. You can't drive a tank on the highway because it will tear apart anything it goes over, right?
Including asphalt?
Treads.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
and probably not very fast. I wouldn't imagine that can top 50. I think they're not meant to be aerodynamic.
So my guess is the truck driver, just some random dude who drives trucks,
right?
And the National Guard was like, "Hey, listen, we need to get a tank from California to South Dakota because for some reason we were training in California, even though we're the South Dakota National Guard, and that makes no sense."
Right.
And the truck driver was driving, and then he saw some shit that really fucked him up, and he left the tank. Or he got drunk somewhere.
Yeah, also possible. Or it could be maybe we're on this guy's side. Maybe the California National Guard or who, I don't know who handles gas reimbursement, but they called him and they're like, "Hey, just so you know, we're going to cover your gas from California to Dakota, but it's on you to get it from Dakota to Nebraska. Is that cool?" And he's like, "Fuck you," and just leaves it on the on-ramp. drives to Denny's, like marches in with a mask and is like, "Give me some eggs," and then just marches out and is like, done. Yeah, that I'm just amazed that we could lose a tank for multiple days. That just strikes me as the kind of thing that should be on a clipboard somewhere. Like somebody. I
also think it's worth pointing out that a safe appeared in a field in New York, and people tried to break it apart with a sledgehammer, and a tank showed up on a Nebraska road, and no one did anything to it.
Yeah. A bunch of farmers and cops drive by. They're like, "Oh, yes, we've got a landmark." No one thinks to check inside for a dead body or anything like that. I see. What I thought was if I were a tow company and I saw a tank on the side of the road, I'd be like, Christmas for Heaton. This is the greatest, like when the National Guard comes asking for us, it'd be like, "Oh man, we got it," because those guys are sharks, tow company guys. I'm sure that there's some.
Yes.
If there's any tow company guys that listen to this, I'm sure you're the exception to the rule. But everyone else in your industry is a shark. And
good libel cover.
Thank you. Yeah, good libel cover. Yeah. Okay. Do you remember the last time I got towed? Did I tell you about this, Young? Is when I left New York for Texas. My car broke down. Within an hour of purchasing the car. It literally broke down in an hour. It broke down in like Bergen, New Jersey, and I bought this in New York. And I'm in a parking lot at McDonald's, and I call a tow company, and I'm like, "Hey, my car won't start. Can you come get it?" And they're like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm in the, I'm on I-50 or whatever. I'm in the parking lot next to McDonald's." And they go, "Oh, no, it's on the highway. Click, hang up on me." 5 different tow companies all hang up on me. Just like, "Nope, we can't do it. It's on the highway. Click." And I finally call a tow company, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, we're the designated, legally validated tow company for highway tows. None of the other companies are good to do that. We'll come pick you up." So this guy picks me up, charges me an exorbitant fee to tow this. And I was like, why is everybody saying this is on the highway? Because it's not. It's in a parking lot located near the highway. And he's like, "Oh, well, in New Jersey, it's legally the highway." And I was like, well, what the hell is that about? And he goes, oh, do you not know about this? It's actually a really smart system. So we have to buy a license from the state of New Jersey. And so we're the only people that can tow these cars. So we get to charge a whole lot of money, but New Jersey also gets like fees from us. So it works for everybody. And I was like, yes. I think you've nailed, like, I'll say this, at least you understand the system that you're abusing that was clearly designed to screw over people. Like, congratulations on properly identifying why that law actually exists.
Ugh.
Anyway, that guy, I'm sure that guy would have charged even more for a tank. I'm confident.
And kept it.
Well, that's what I would do is I would try to figure out how to convert it into a lawnmower. Because I feel like that would be the most badass thing. Like imagine like your neighbor's like, running the weed whacker and you're like, man, that's an irritating sound. I wanted to read my Orson Scott Card novel in my lawn chair. Well, nuts to you, Bert. And then you like bring out this big ass tank, mow your lawn with it. Be pretty cool.
I don't think you'd have a lawn. Yeah. You'd have a tilled field when you were done.
I got to say, if it ruins asphalt, as you're implying, I'm not sure that Bermuda grass could withstand the pressure. It'd have to be some pretty strong turf.
Yeah. But worth it to beat the neighbors.
It would definitely be worth it. I wouldn't even do it to be me. My parents' neighbor Tom's a cool guy. I really like him. And like Tom, like when I was hanging out with my parents, he just kind of come over to hang out. And I would totally like mow their lawn with a tank just so Tom could see it. I think he'd get a kick out of it. That'd be pretty cool.
If you were in England, though, the police would show up and take it away.
Yeah, exactly. But then I would open it up and be like, "Now, can you before you guys arrest me? I want to note I do have a horse inside of this tank, so clearly I'm up to something, and maybe you should just give me some wide berth." Yeah. All right. So to Michigan. Woman found alive at Detroit funeral home after she was declared dead. A woman was pronounced dead after the emergency crews from the Southfield Fire Department found her unresponsive at her home while still breathing. 20 years old. Apparently, they worked on her for like half an hour, spent a significant amount of time administering CPR and resuscitation attempts. After half an hour, she was declared dead. Sent her to the funeral home. Funeral home, wheels out the terrifying gurney or whatever, and then is like, oh, nope, she's breathing. So they have to call her and send her to the hospital. And this is my thought. Just to be safe, I think she should have to live at the funeral home for the next 2 weeks in case she actually dies, because I feel like she's wasted a lot of people's time. Like the EMTs, the funeral guys, they're not even making money off of this. So just have her stay there for a couple of weeks in case she does check out.
See, I think this is a spin on your theory about the safe. I think a lot of people really wanted this woman to be dead. And I'm wondering how much you have to bribe an EMT, sorry, more libel, to have them pronounce someone dead such that she gets that far before people are like, wait a second.
Yeah, could be something like that. Yeah, well, I'm glad she's okay. So we end on a happy note that she managed, she's apparently good. And it doesn't actually say what the issue was. I mean, the only thing we know is that she's 20 years old and a lady. So, 20 years old, I guess slightly more likely that it was drug abuse or something, but we really don't know that. It's just rank, wild speculation on my part. I'm very glad no names were used here.
Hold on. Here's a question, though. It says that she was not breathing when they examined her, right? Mm-hmm. But then she was breathing at the funeral home. So she could be a vegetable, and we don't know that yet, right?
Oh, God. Yep. It's possible. I guess we shouldn't declare it a victory just yet. I think I'll keep that in there, but I feel bad about it, or sad about it, though. Well, Young, I feel like we've sorted out almost all of the world's problems that have manifested to us. We solved the mystery of the safe. We completely resolved the mystery of the axe horseman. And
Heaton, what about the psychic?
Oh, did I drop I thought I had another story. Did I skip ahead? Okay.
Yeah. I remember you sent me this one.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I skipped ahead. Sorry about that. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Because I was feeling a little light on this. I was like, usually these go half an hour to 40 minutes. Okay. Driver charged with DWI after crashing into psychic's office on Monday. This is in Baton Rouge. An uneventful day wasn't in the cards for a long-time fortune-telling business. See what they did there? Near I-10 after it ended up with a vehicle through its front wall. A truck crashed through the front of the Psychic Room Monday afternoon, which is located at the intersection of College Drive and Corporate. I feel like the easy thing for us to say, Young, and I'm not gonna take the easy route. The easy thing is like, why didn't she see it coming? Right? Yeah. That's the low-hanging fruit that we got to skip. This is what I'm thinking. Maybe this guy wasn't drunk. He just really needed a psychic reading right then. And everybody's giving him a hard time. They assume he's drunk because he crashed into her place, but he needed to know if he was going to get back together with his ex-wife or if there was vague financial opportunity in his future that he should be excited about. And I just feel like we should give him the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, I'm going to assume that they did a test, Heaton.
Maybe. Yeah, probably. I feel like that's, yeah.
I mean, granted, if someone drives through a building, I am going to assume they're drunk.
Yeah, I got to say, man, this is tough. I'm trying to give this guy the benefit of the doubt, but I'm having a real difficult time. I'd be a bad defense attorney. Like if I were a defense attorney, they're like, yeah, he was drunk and he drove the thing into a wall. And I'm like, oh, okay. 2 out of 3. Yeah, I wouldn't be very good at. Yeah, I feel like if you try to like drive your car through a mall or through a psychic building,
then you're just a blues brother.
Yeah, then you're just a blues brother. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Maybe he was just drunk then.
It occurs to me. It said that the grandmother was covered in chili, right?
Yeah. She.
So it occurs to me, we could have a new saying on our hands, because normally when you're embarrassed by something, you're like, oh man, do I have egg on my face? But if you're a psychic, you can say, oh man, am I covered in chili?
Oh, great. So if you're a psychic.
Whenever you get it wrong.
Yeah. If you're a psychic, you don't see it coming. Oh, I like this. Yeah. Man, am I covered in chili? And they're like, oh, what happened? Oh, you know what? I even had a Bitcoin analyst over at my place and I didn't buy any Bitcoin and now it's jumped up. Or, yeah. No, that's great.
It's a new idiom for psychics.
Yeah. Gotta say, pretty suspicious of psychics. I've met a couple of people that had weird intuition that did kind of freak me out. But the bit about the psychics that always kind of confuses me is, if they're such good psychics, why are they operating these really crappy storefront businesses for a low-level income in like seedy neighborhoods in New York? Shouldn't they be like working at a boardroom or something? Like if this worked, wouldn't IBM have like a psychic division that just worked on stuff? They don't. And like IBM seems to me to have pretty good algorithms for this kind of stuff. So I don't buy it.
Heaton, if you're a psychic and you can sense and see the future, then your intentions are always noble.
Good.
Because always noble. So you open a small storefront where just the locals can come in and talk to you.
Just to help people. Yeah. And I'm guessing that's what they'd say is like, I'm not in it for the money. I'm just in it to help people. And it's like, really? There's no other psychic that is good at this that's not in it for the money? Because every other profession has that guy. Every other profession has somebody that's willing to cash out. But your one profession is just you and John Edwards? That's it?
Maybe the psychic guides and voices would basically torture and castigate them if they ended up doing it for money.
That checks out. Or maybe alternately, they're just like, what I love doing is I just love trying to reunite dead lovers through pottery. Like that's why I'm in this, is I just want to help ghosts have a last moment with their wife. And I kind of get off on that. And that's how I got into this. I don't need a lot of money. I know what makes me happy.
I love that your specific psychic touchdown is Whoopi Goldberg.
Yep, Whoopi Goldberg. You know what they should do? They should call the psychic and be like, what's in the safe? Come on. And then,
yes, they should.
And you know what? If she gets it right, then I'll back off on all of this and say that she's a psychic.
I like it. Maybe she can also answer the question of the tank.
Right. Yeah. What happened to the tank driver? It's like the Marie Celeste of tanks. We don't know what happened.
And by doing this, all mystery stories this week will be tied together. And that is the greatest uplifting ending.
Thank God we didn't end on your vegetable comment. I'm really glad you remembered that we had an additional story. Young, that was fantastic. I'm going to preempt your plug. Usually I ask people if they want me to promote anything. Go listen to my other podcast, Alienating the Audience, and you can find Andrew Young on there. And I'll add that, Young, you've been very funny on that podcast as well, because you've not only been a guest as a proper sci-fi analyst and enthusiast, but you've also been on there for our sketch comedy that I do with Nick Sperduti. You were the mayor of Hot Detroit, and the spacehead god, a la Final Frontier. So you've carved out a good niche for yourself.
Both very enjoyable experiences, and I think probably better versions of me than me.
But agreed, absolutely, yeah. Cool, man. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.
But wait, we're not done yet. It's time for me to bring you up to snuff on the Rogue Wig Party, the glorious party from which I am running for vice president of the United States of America in 2020. I don't have a presidential running mate. I don't need one. Last week, I invited you to apply for your dog to be an elector in the Rogue Whig Party, and I have to say, there was way more interest in people getting their dogs proclaimed as delegates to the Electoral College than we ever made in terms of actually getting me votes for the Electoral College. I didn't get the exact numbers. I didn't write down the numbers, but it's something like a couple hundred Rogue Whig dogs that we now have representing various states in the Rogue Whig Party to the Electoral College. We also have a Jewish cat. I know this because it has a yarmulke. It has a yarmulke in one of its pictures. There's also a tortoise gun in there somehow, and somebody slipped in a baby dressed in a dog costume, which I didn't realize till after I issued the paperwork. So that kid's in, youngest member of the Rogue Whig Party. This puts us in the interesting position. We actually have more dogs than humans in the Rogue Whig Party at this point, and we have more electors than members. There are more electors representing the Rogue Whig Party proclaimed for the Electoral College in the event of a victory than there are actual voting members eligible to cast a ballot in the election to determine them. And I say that's a great sign. It is a great sign that our party has more dogs to people ratio benefits than the other carotid parties with their weak policies on dog electors. And the fact that we have more electors than members, I think, if anything, just underlies the great tidal wave, the great Argyle tidal wave that's going to sweep this country when the crypto Whigs take this election come 2020. Now, I do have a minor setback, some bad news, minor setback. I did really honestly try and allocated a budget to get onto the ballot in Louisiana this year. Like, that was a very concerted goal of mine, and alas, it has not come to pass in the year 2020. In order to get on that ballot, I had to get a human elector. I assume I didn't actually push my luck on that. I just went with human electors for that one. I had to get human electors from every congressional district in Louisiana plus two at large, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to find electors from each congressional district, meaning that I was not valid to get on the ballot in Louisiana. But I'm not licked yet. Oh no, I'm not licked yet. We didn't give up in World War II when General Pershing couldn't get on the ballot in Prussia. No, we kept going. We kept fighting, and by God, we won. And so we're not done yet either, and I'm not done. And I think that this just means it's going to be an even bigger, grander upset victory come November. Now, it does mean that we have to make some strategic positions here, some strategic calls, and I would like your input on this. So at the moment, our only venues available for us to get me into that Naval Observatory in the second highest office in the land are write-in campaigns. And I've looked into this. The states that we can do that are Oregon, Wyoming, Iowa, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Rhode Island, D.C., Mississippi, Alabama, New Hampshire, and Vermont. Great states all, but I have a few criteria for states that I refuse to campaign in. They can't be too humid, too flat, and I don't want them to be swing states because I don't have sufficient backbone to spoil an entire presidential election. In all honesty, if I brought the Whig Party back after 166 years of being on idle and then I flipped the election, I feel like it would hurt the Whig Party more than help the Whig Party right out the gate to do that. So no spoiler swing states on the Whig Party ballot this year or being too humid. So Iowa, that's out, too flat. New Jersey, I'm not campaigning there. It's, I think, self-evident why I'm not going to go there. Pennsylvania, swing state, beautiful, can't go, sorry. Mississippi, too humid. Alabama, too humid. New Hampshire, swing state. This leaves, by my count, 4 places that I can run a write-in campaign and could actually, rent a campaign bus and park there and go socially distanced equivalent of shaking hands in a Walmart parking lot to try and score a few thousand votes, maybe get an electoral vote, right? That leaves Washington, D.C., which I'm not wild to campaign in, but I do a lot of business in, so it would make sense. Vermont, which is probably beautiful and I think has a lot of maple syrup. Oregon, which I know is beautiful. And Wyoming, which I'm not sure exists, but is probably pretty good looking if it is. So those are the 4 states I feel comfortable running a campaign in at this point. And so I have to make a decision here, and I would like your input on this. I see 3 options. Do I focus on one of those states/districts and drive there for probably a month and just try and convince as many disenfranchised voters as possible to vote Whig to get me an electoral vote? Or conversely, do we just conduct a massive national mail-in campaign for people that want to vote for me but can't, and then send all of those votes to a single town in Canada just to see what they do about it? It would make for an interesting episode if the mayor had to call me, because he was just baffled as to why all of us Americans were sending mail-in order votes to Ashkenouza, Alberta, or whatever. Finally, the other option, which I think might be the most fun of this, and would involve me going to some fun states, is several people have reached out to me from Pennsylvania, from Ohio, from Michigan and Arizona, from swing states that I have already said I don't wish to campaign in because I don't want to be a spoiler on this one. And a couple of them have actually said they're going to vote for me even though I asked them not to. And so what I think would be kind of a neat campaign turn at this point would be to actually go to the swing states and try to convince people not to vote for me, to like get a bunch of campaign posters that say, "Don't vote Whig 2020," or "Not Heaton in 2020," and just wage a relentless campaign aimed at suppressing voters for me in the swing states. Benefit to this: Pennsylvania's gorgeous. Several other states are beautiful. And if I don't take any of the electoral votes, the whole campaign's a success. I will have won. I will have succeeded in saving the republic. So that's what I'm thinking about. And I welcome your input. Email me, tweet me. Your input's welcome. Finally, I'm going to close today's program with a vice presidential campaign speech from my official speechwriter, Mr. Tom Merritt, who is host of Daily Tech News Show and the very good sci-fi program Sword and Laser. Now, I don't remember how we determined that Tom was my official speechwriter, but I do remember that we struck up a deal. I don't have to pay him a salary, but I never get to read the speeches he writes beforehand. I always have to read them blind. It's like combining Russian roulette with a podium. Now, I have not read his speech yet, or this is the first time through. You and I are going to hear the speech at the same time, but I will say that I asked Tom to make a very substantive, daring speech that's policy heavy with clear solutions to well-delineated problems that you could build something on and that will set me aside from all of those other boilerplate politicians. So let's see what Tom came up with. Here goes. Folks, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy lives to be with me here today. I truly appreciate it. I'm not here to feed you a lot of lines. I'm here to talk about our country and its direction. I don't know about you, but I want that direction to be forward, to be upward, to be better than we were before. And we can. I believe we are a great nation, and the way we stay great is to rely on you, our great people. A lot of other folks in this race want you to look backward, look down. That's not me. I want to get to work, don't you? Let's fix what's wrong with our country. Together, we can do that. The difficult doesn't scare me. And that's thanks to the power you, the people of our country, have to make positive change toward a better tomorrow. I'm running because I believe in making things better. I'm running because I believe in giving families a chance to succeed. I'm running because I want what's best for our country, and I reject what's bad for it. If you feel the same way, and I know the vast majority of you do, I need your help. We can make progress. We can try something, and we can do something together. I just need your vote. I need you to get your friends and neighbors to vote. I ask you to stand with me, join me, and together we'll build a country we know we can be proud of. Because in this election, we are choosing to look forward and look toward a brighter future. And together, we're going to get there, my friends. Together we cannot fail. Thank you. And may God bless America.